Hello everyone, this is Sandra Solomon here. I'm doing today a phone interview with a Muslim lady. Approached me today through the email, and we decide to do a phone interview, and she's okay with me recording her voice. We're gonna be discussing motion M103. Hi Jane, how are you?
Hello, hi Sandra.
Yes. Would you like to introduce yourself first to the audience, if you don't mind?
Sure. I gave you the name of Jane or Jen, but that's actually not my real name because I wanted to protect my identity. But you can call me Jane if you'd wish. But yeah, I emailed you today because I'm based in Edmonton, and I found out that you're in Edmonton and you were protesting outside of mosques and you have plans to go to City Hall. So I reached out to you because I just wanted to have a face-to-face or voice-to-voice conversation about some of the things that you've been protesting about, and just thought we could have a conversation, that's all.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank you for your approach, and because I've been looking for someone from the Muslim community to speak to me peacefully, civilized, regarding motion M103. First of all, which mosque that you saw me, like Masjid Al-Umari or Masjid Al-Rashid?
No, I never went to the mosque. Because it came to my attention that you protested in front of the mosque.
Oh.
And then afterwards I saw the video. So I wasn't at the mosque at all, actually.
Oh, okay. But you don't attend like either Jami' Al-Rashid or Al-Umari? You don't attend to these mosques?
No, I don't, because
Okay.
I'm new to Edmonton. I haven't been yet, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, let's get into it. My question is, what do you think of motion M103, if you know about it?
Yeah, I think it's actually a very important motion because I don't know if you're aware that it's not a motion that's specifically about the Muslim community. It's meant to study religious discrimination in general, as well as systemic racism. And it is true, it came out of the fact that Muslims were killed at the Quebec mosque shooting. It came out of the incidents of Islamophobia that rose after Trump was elected. But it's meant to be sort of a broad study on religious discrimination in general. And many of us know that the Jewish community does experience the most amount of discrimination in terms of religious-based hate crime. So it's also going to be a study that also impacts positively the Jewish community. And so I think it's a great motion. And as a Muslim, I know many women I wear hijab, and I know many women who have been harassed. And Muslims, the increase of hate crimes towards Muslims has increased, I think, doubled in the last 2 or 3 years, whereas general hate crimes have decreased. So there is a need to study, the reasons why Muslims are experiencing discrimination, and generally why people of any faith background experience discrimination.
Okay, well, do you know what the word Islamophobia really is?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, that's the thing. I think it's one of those terms that it's not, I mean, it's very new, right? It's a new term that has just been introduced into our society, and it's meant to be an irrational fear of Muslims and Islam. That's my understanding of it. That's how I understand the term, yeah.
Okay, well, how do you think of like an ex-Muslim like me who lived under Sharia law in Saudi Arabia, and I escaped Sharia law? To me, my view into this motion, to me, I view it as the blasphemy law because they use the word quelling. Which is this is a red flag there, and also I see it as unnecessary motion because according to the Charter of Right and Freedom of Religion, according to the Canadian Constitution, that it's already been set for a long time, before maybe even any Muslim existed into this country. They have laws that to protect each and every individual who live in Canada for their religious freedom, their rights, and against discrimination and all that. So there is lots of question mark to this motion, because regardless of the motion, it's been there or not, everyone, according to the Canadian law, it's already protected, and there's codes for hate crimes and all that stuff. So it's like unnecessary thing. And for me as an ex-Muslim, and I know that this is implanted, started in Europe, this is planted by a terrorist group called the Muslim Brotherhood. They plant this, the word Islamophobia, to lay the ground to remove the suspicions of terrorism related to Islam and all that stuff, and to stop people criticizing Islam or criticizing Muhammad or criticizing. I'm just saying criticizing. I'm not saying mocking or hating or all that. I believe that each and every individual human being on the face of the planet, regardless of their faith or background or race, they should have the freedom of choosing and criticizing, especially their faith and their belief system.
Sure.
Do you agree on that or not?
Yeah, I agree.
So basically, yes, which is good, that at least we know that each and every individual have the right to criticize their belief, and not just to follow up what their parents growing up with and whatever the government and all that.
May I interrupt? I just want to say that I think a lot of it is a misunderstanding of the language around it, because it isn't just about people like you who are criticizing the ideology of Islam. It's literally that people are dying on the street. Muslims are being killed. I mean, only 6 days after the Quebec massacre, or sorry, not 6 days, a few weeks after the Quebec massacre, you and a few other people protested in front of a masjid. I mean, that's very hurtful and sensitive. And I know you're going to say, well, Muslims go out and kill people and terrorism, and that is all very true. That's very true. But the people who attack Muslims because of what terrorists do, I can't control what some crazy guy in England does. It's horrific. It's terrible. But people are attacking Muslims on the street for what some guy far away did. And that's what we want to see, that kind of discrimination stop. I don't actually care that you go around criticizing. Well, it hurts me on a personal level, but sure, if you want to go around criticizing Islam, power to you, fine, go ahead. But people are dying. People are being attacked. Mothers are being punched in the face. That happened in Toronto. Women are, it's horrific. That's really what we're tackling, a lot of physical violence and a lot of provocative language that hurts people.
So, okay. First of all, my criticizing to Islam as an ideology, I've been always calling people, I don't hate Muslims. I don't agree on any physical violent action toward any person, especially the Muslims. I don't agree any physical. So far, and the mosque that I protested, I actually posted the video. It's on my YouTube channel, Voice of Sandra Solomon. You can see that... You can see the videos of the imams calling for the killing of the Jews and calling for, may Allah, the Toronto Masjid in Toronto. I have the video, it's on my YouTube with the imam, what he's saying. We have the record for the imam.
Okay, well, that's terrible.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
I will never, listen, I will never come to any person who I don't know, or any imam, okay, that I don't know their view or their anything, and just like go and harm them. You know what I mean? My main movement, or what the rallies, or my Canada tour across the country, raising awareness about motion M103, because I can see it clearly. It's the blasphemy law that's brought like from the Quran, from the Hadith. As ex-Muslim myself, I raised in Saudi Arabia. Let me ask you a question. How would you feel? How would you feel about me as apostate from Islam? And according to Sharia law, Islamic Sharia law, apostate from Islam should be executed. My family disowned me, and I can be killed any minute. I'm putting my life on the front line to be killed. According to Canadian imams here, I did a video about them. Shahriyar al-Sheikh, Ahmed Abdul Qadir Qandil, and Saeed Rajih openly say it. Whoever leave Islam should be executed.
Well, Sandra, whoever those people are, don't have authority over Canadian Muslims. Nobody takes those people seriously. Like, I've been in the Muslim community for 12 years. I was a Catholic before, and I'd have to be very honest with you. I've never heard personally. I know of people who are like that, but I've never encountered that as like a pervasive attitude in our community. Like, nobody really thinks like that, especially younger generation people. And I understand you came from a country that actually has blasphemy laws, that actually applies this very narrow interpretation of the Sharia. But we're in Canada. Muslims, I will tell you this, and as an honest person, Muslims are not interested in bringing 6th century Islam, Sharia law to Canada. That is never going to happen. Like, nobody wants that. Muslims don't want that. Even practicing Muslims like me, nobody wants that. So I don't, and the fact is, okay, maybe you're not someone who wants to harm Muslims, but sometimes when I go to your page, I see some people saying, oh, let's shoot them, let's boil Muslims in pig grease. Like, I see this woman all the time saying that. Like, that's the kind of fuel that you're giving to people who will actually harm Muslims. Even if you don't feel like you're ever going to do that, people who support you are people who would actually go out there and do that. The man who shot those 6 people in the mosque was probably someone who would have supported you. Do you know what I mean? So this is why the need for a study, just a study on the ramifications of religious discrimination, and then some recommendations need to go out to combat it. Every community that's ever suffered discrimination has their own specific way of dealing with it. Like the Black community, if they're doing poorly in school, I'm a Black woman, so there's studies to look at why Black males in particular are failing. Like you create studies to focus on a specific issue within a specific community. This is just a specific study. It's not meant to say don't criticize Islam. Go ahead, criticize Islam all you want.
Well, apparently this study. This is just a step one. It's not gonna be a study forever. This one, it could be a law to quell people to criticize Islam. They use the word quelling. If you don't read the motion, I agree. I encourage you to read it. They use the word quelling, and the term itself, it has no meaning. We don't have phobia from Islam. I don't have no phobia from Muslims. I go to the door of the mosque. I'm willing to discuss with every imam on Canada to prove me wrong of my views on Islam. We don't have phobia. We talk out of knowledge, out of evidence, and I have a first-hand experience on Sharia law. And again, I don't agree on any physical violence against any Muslim in the country, regardless of who they are from. And plus, systemic racism, Islam has no race. And Canadians, they never been a racist. If there is a few number of Canadians or society, whatever, that's normal. I lived in Middle East. Do you know that till today, the Muslim in Arabic word, the word abid, they call the black people abid, that means slave. So I lived in Middle East. There's lots of racism in Middle East toward the black people or toward white people or toward Asian people and all that, or toward the Jew, mainly the Jew. As a Palestinian, we grow up that we have to hate the Jews, and anti-Semitism, that we have to kill them and wipe them and purify the Aqsa Mosque from the filthy Jews. So I grow up with this kind of ideology, with this kind of belief system. It's not me going through everything about Islam. My concern that motion M103, it's not necessary. We can do study, but we don't have to bring it as a motion that could be a law one day. That's my main concern. If motion M103 become a law, the freedom of speech, it's under arrest in Canada. Canada based on freedom of speech.
Is already protected not constitutionally. The freedom of speech is already protected in our current system of law. So why do you think that suddenly it's going to be taken away because we want to prevent Muslims from being physically harmed or harmed in other ways, right? And also, I don't see you denouncing people who are calling for our deaths on your Facebook page. You don't denounce them. Why not?
My main concern is this motion. It's not just a study. They never said Iqra College. He never said, oh, it's just a study. It will never become a law. It's a study to become a law. It's gonna become a law.
If it becomes law, so Sandra, if it becomes law, what are you really afraid of if it becomes law?
It's gonna be blasphemy law. Okay, according to Sharia law, whoever fight Allah and Muhammad Okay, according to the Quran. This is Quran. Okay, جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله أن يقطعوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف. I'm reading Quran to you. The penalty of the people who fight Allah and His Messenger, they either gonna be killed or crucified and cut the hands and the leg from the opposite side. And not only that, we have so many stories of people being executed in Saudi Arabia and many Muslim countries where they call it honor killing, who apostate from Islam, they're being killed, honor killing. And many people till today, there is a guy, his name is Raif Badawi. I encourage you to Google his name, Raif Badawi, just because he put a website called the Liberal Saudi. He want to separate religion from the states. Okay, so till today, his wife in Canada, he cannot see his kids anymore. He's been flogged publicly. So that's my concern. It's not fear. I'm not afraid. I'm concerned about our freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want about the Quran. I can say whatever I want about Muhammad, okay? And as everyone can say anything they want about the Bible or Jesus or the Judaism or Hinduism or Buddhism or atheism, we have to be able to free criticize or draw Muhammad or whatever. Nothing, anything we can, like, it's the sky is the limit. We have to be in a free. And also, according to Sharia law, there's no separation from mosque and a state. It's like it's the governmental state. In the secular, democratic, civilized, Western civilized law based on Judeo-Christian value, we need to separate the church from the state. Secular law for everyone, include the Muslim.
Okay.
I always encourage Muslim. If you want to live in Canada, you need to live according to Sharia, to Canadian law, not Sharia law.
Sandra, may I sorry to interrupt, but
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Respond to some of what you're Okay, I just want to say that I think you're making a leap, because you're thinking that if M103 suddenly becomes a bill, it becomes like Bill 103 or whatever, suddenly Canada's adopting some version of Sharia law that's going to prevent you from openly criticizing a faith that you left whenever you left it. And I think that there will never be that. That will never happen, because Canada is already a system, a country, a society that bases itself on a certain kind of pluralism and diversity and freedom of expression, that it would never be possible to put Islamicize all of Canada unless all of the freedoms will be robbed. That doesn't make sense. Like, there's no possible benefit for Canadian society to go that way.
Well,
and when you look at the word phobia, it's not just simply a matter of fear, but a lot of people who support you are actually concerned and have fearful about what they consider to be a cultural invasion of Islam. They don't like seeing women in hijabs. They don't like seeing bearded men. They don't like seeing whatever Islamic values that they see happening, like celebrating, I don't know, Ramadan at City Hall. They don't like seeing it. It's actually, they're afraid of a cultural invasion. It's a cultural thing. They want to keep Canada pure and Christian or whatever it is. And that is a phobia, because you're concerned that the presence of another group of people is going to change your culture so much that it's going to have a negative impact. That's phobia. That is a phobia.
I'm sorry, but
and also to respond to your Quranic thing about the what did you say? You said something about the blasphemy law?
No, like, yeah, it's rooted in the Quran and it's rooted in the Hadith. Muhammad himself, he said, "Man baddala deenahu faqtuluh." Who changed his religion, kill him.
Let me explain, because you use that a lot, and it is true. It is very much true that a lot of Islamic countries are absurd when it comes to that. It's very difficult, actually. But historically, when you look at the Sharia and Islamic countries or Islamic regions, it wasn't so much countries per se. There was no separation as we know it today between mosque and state. So effectively, the religious bodies were governing the country. So if you were against Islam, you were against the state. Treason. It was considered treason. It wasn't just like posting a blog or.
So yeah, like that's exactly what Muhammad started. It started Islamic State.
No, but what I'm saying is you could have been atheist in the time of the Prophet, and if you didn't rise up against the state, it's not a problem. You could have been atheist. People drank while the Prophet was alive.
But that's a question. If you don't rise up against, what if I rise up against Trudeau? For example, I rise up against Trudeau. I call him that he turned away from Canada. We rise up against whatever the presidents or the caliphate.
What I'm saying, historically, that's the case. But in contemporary society, modern society, there's no place for that, right? And in Canada, and it's not rising up just speaking out against Islam. It's about like being treacherous, aligning with people who want to take down the country. It was less about religion. It was more about politics, ultimately, right? And so in Canada, there's treason laws in almost every country, right? It's about treason. But because we have separation of church and state, it looks weird because you don't understand the fact that religion wasn't separated from this. It was political. It was not religious. It was more political.
And it is still political. If it's not political, there's no need to bring such a motion.
No place for that. I'm sorry?
I can see it is still Islam. It's based on many Canadian imams as well. I can go on with the list. And especially ICNA Canada. Have you heard about ICNA Canada?
Yeah, I know ICNA, yes, I do.
Okay, ICNA Canada, Dr. Iqbal Al-Nadvi. I'm encouraging you to check Dr. Iqbal Al-Nadvi. He is the top imam of Canada. He is the mufti of Canada. Check their website. Sorry?
There's no mufti of Canada, Sandra. There's no mufti of Canada. Nobody really looks at religious leaders like that in the Muslim community. It's not like that. Like, you don't understand. It's really
what about the imams?
That. Sorry?
What about the imams?
I didn't hear you.
The imams. He's the top imam. He is the mufti of Canada. ICNA Canada is the biggest Islamic organization in North America.
Yeah, but a lot of, I'm a young Muslim. I'm like 32, 31. Like most millennial Muslims, even if they're practicing, they don't even look to religious leaders anymore like that. We don't take them, they don't understand our cultural context. They come from different countries. They often, even the khutbahs, Muslims go to khutbahs, they're not even that happy with khutbahs. You know how much tension we have in our own community? We're fighting, Black Muslims are fighting with Arab Muslims about the word Abid that you mentioned. Like there's so much tension that we're trying to work out with each other. We're not united about under some one mufti that wants to take over Canada. It's never been like that. There's so much we're working on.
Okay, why we don't see?
Work, have a job. We want to have families. We want to love people. We want to live well. We don't want to like bring Sharia. Like nobody thinks like that on a daily basis. And like when I see these videos, I'm like, I don't understand, Sandra, and it really hurts. Like it hurts so much of us. Like sometimes I just feel like I just want to come and give you a hug or something so we can just get over this and work it out and be friends or something, because I just feel like I don't understand. I don't know. I feel really,
okay, because this is the main problem with majority. We have 1.5 billion Muslim on the face of the planet, okay? And none of them can speak behalf of Islam. Like none of them, if I ask the same question for 5 Muslims, each Muslim will give me different answer.
Of course.
And also because there's also a different commentary, what do you call it, tafsir. Each and every Muslim, they pick and choose from whatever they want. It's like a market. Okay, and there is something called taqiyya in Islam, like the deceiving. ولا يتخذ المؤمنين الكافرين أولياء من دون الله إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقى. I know the Quran in Arabic. When I recite it in Arabic.
Sorry, can you go back? I didn't hear that last part. You said tazkiyah, right, or something?
Taqiyya.
Taqiyya?
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that? Because I need to talk about that because I've been Muslim for 12 years. I only came across that term 3 or 4 years ago from right-wing blogs. You really have to be honest about that term, Sandra, because you know that's not a term that a lot of Sunni Muslims use. That is not a common term. And you know that specifically refers to particular times when you're being attacked by somebody. You're allowed to lie about your faith and say, I'm not Muslim, so people don't kill you. You're not allowed to go around general society and lie about things. You know how many hadiths, please be honest, you know how many hadiths the Prophet says about if people who lie are not of our community. You know how honest the Prophet always called for honesty. You know this, Sandra. Please be honest about this taqiyya. I've never even heard about it before a right-wing blog.
It says لا يتخذ, I'm gonna repeat the verse again. لا يتخذ المؤمنين الكافرين أولياء. أولياء means ally, like friends. Like you cannot take them as a friend unless you're doing taqiyya, unless you are in a weak position until you got what you want. You go to the tafsir and you can read it for yourself as well. So
sorry, exactly. You're in a weak position. Okay, this is when only time I've heard of it. When someone is attacking you physically or with violence, and they're like, "Are you Muslim?" and they're going to kill you, you are allowed to say, no, I'm not Muslim, so you don't die. That is a weak position. That is what they're referring to. It's
No,
not about lying in general society.
I'm sorry, but it says لا يتخذون المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء. allies يعني friend, أصحاب, أصدقاء, friends.
A friend, like a companion.
Yes, you're not gonna take someone who wants to come and kill you as a friend anyway, regardless. So basically, if someone comes and wanna kill you, he doesn't want to be your friend to begin with. You know what I mean?
Okay.
No one will come. No one will. If someone wants to coming to you and want to kill you, he has no intention to be your friend to begin with. So basically,
so what's the verse? Let me pull up the verse. What's the verse?
لا يتخذ المؤمنين الكافرين أولياء من دون الله إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقى.
No, the number of the verse.
I can't remember. I have so many verses. I memorized so many things from the Quran. I don't have the Quran in my hand now, but you can do you know how to type in Arabic?
Sorry, pardon?
Do you know how to type in Arabic?
No, I can read.
Do you know how to read in Arabic?
A little bit, but I don't really know very much, to be honest.
So, okay, reading the Quran in Arabic. Yes, this is what I encourage people, especially the people who's not Arabic speakers. You know what I mean? I understand the language, the mother language of the Quran. Like I don't like the exact like as you as an English speaker, maybe you understand Shakespeare or the hardcore English better than me. You know what I mean? I understand the ancient language of the Quran itself. So to me, there's lots of terms. But today we had the interview to focus mainly on M103, and I just wanted to give you a message. If you can deliver it to your community, to the mosque, to everyone that you dealing with, your friend, your family. I don't hate you. Like I don't hate Muslims. I have no problem with Muslims at all. If they want to live in Canada, they want to live under Canadian law, and don't claim that there is a systematic racism, because majority of Canadians are not racists. Majority of Canadians are peace loving, integrating people. What so call it like true diversity, which is this is a new terms, a new things that coming to the Canadian society. It's a fringe. Like all of a sudden Canada has lots of racists, which is not true. All of a sudden when we go to the rally, you have no idea how much we got also labeled as racist, as a white supremacist, even though I'm not white, as a Nazis, even though I stand with the Jew and I stand for Israel. As lots of things that it's a fringing to our, you see, Antifa, the fascism, you know what I mean? There's so many things that's happening in Canada, including Motion M103, that it's a fringing into our society. And my concern is, I don't want Canada to turn like I did not leave Saudi Arabia to live in Canadian Arabia. Like I'm done. And as I know for sure that the ultimate dream for majority Muslim around the world, I'm not speaking behalf of you, ultimate like majority Muslim around the world, they support Sharia law, they want Sharia law, because majority Muslim in the whole world, they believe the Quran, it's the word of Allah, it's the final word, and Muhammad is the final prophet. Sorry, just one second. And Sharia, just one second, I'm finishing my point. And Sharia law, it's taking this is what they teach me. Islam, it's our religion. Quran, it's our constitution. Muhammad is our prophet. Jihad is our way. Dying for Allah, it's our ultimate dream. Let's focus in the word Quran, our constitution. Do you agree with me that your constitution as a Muslim is the Quran? Yes or no?
My constitution?
Yes, what's your constitution?
It's my guiding force. It's my spiritual and guiding force. It's not my legal constitution necessarily. But I do believe, like, you know, Sharia is about, like, paying charity, how much charity you pay. It's about fasting. That's part of the Sharia. It's not about punishing people. Like, that's not the main part of it. It's about how do you know, how much do you pay in zakah? How much, you know, how do you deal with people on a daily basis? It's a lot of the values are very similar to Christian and Jewish beliefs.
Aside of that, the legal system, like, do you agree with me, Sharia law, from the word law, it's a legal system or not?
Is it illegal? It can be expressed as a legal system for sure. Yeah.
Good. So Sharia law, it is the legal system for like majority Muslim around the world, and they want to govern by Sharia law, like the government.
But that's not true.
But how come? Because don't you believe that the Quran is the final word from Allah?
It's a religious belief. Do you not also know? Is this not?
So has nothing to do like Islam. There is no such a thing. There is no such a thing called a political side in Islam.
Oh, 100% there is. Oh, yes, there is. But Sandra, did the Prophet say follow the law of the land that you live in? Yes or no?
No.
Did he say that?
No, never.
No?
No.
Are you sure?
He said, أمرت أن أقاتل الناس حتى يشهدوا أن لا إله إلا الله ومحمد رسول الله. He said, I've been ordered to fight people and they believe there is no God but Allah and I am his messenger.
No.
That's what Muhammad said.
Sandra.
In
No,
Sahih
but
Bukhari.
Sandra, you know you were all... Okay, Sandra.
And also in the Quran, it says that وقاتلوا الذين لا يؤمنون بالله ولا باليوم الآخر ولا يدينون دين الحق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب حتى يعطوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون. Fight who do not believe in Allah in the last days from the people of the book, the Jews and the Christian, until they give the jizya and feel themselves subdued. There's so many things we can go through it. So my main concern today is motion M103. Like motion M103, to me, it's a red flag.
Okay. Let's maybe we should calm. Both of us need to calm down. I think we are getting off track. But
no. Like all this, what I'm talking about, all these verses, all these, this is like something because you believe the Quran is the final word, right? And it's.
But Sandra, the thing is, we know that the verses were revealed for specific context in time and particular times when they were in conflict. It wasn't meant to apply to a general way. And you know the Prophet also had treaties with people who were outside of the Muslim community. You know that his companions moved to Christian, current-day Ethiopia, and the Ethiopians embraced him. This is part of our history, and he had a good relationship with the Christian people of Ethiopia. You know this. When at the time when there was
well, look what's going on for the Christian. Where is the Christian in Saudi Arabia? Where is the synagogues in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. What? Saudi Arabia is not a great example of a Muslim country. It's not
also in Saudi Arabia doesn't govern by 100% Sharia law.
Yeah, but they're so you know how hypocritical Saudi is in so many ways. They have that, and then they also bring in. I don't want to say all these bad things, but there's the terrible things that happen in the country. It's hypocritical. They're an imperfect country. They're not a representative of what pure Islam is. And you already know this. You know what?
I'm sorry. I know the truth that Saudi Arabia, it's 100% Islamic. 100% Islamic, 100%. I'm the one who lived in Saudi Arabia. I'm the one who got educated. I memorized more than half of the Quran. I read so many books, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sahih Ibn Kathir, Ibn Taymiyyah, Tirmidhi. I can go on and on and on. Like, it's not like I'm talking from my own La La Land. I know Sharia law.
I know. But you lived in a country that had, in my opinion,
it's not just I lived in the country. It has nothing to do with the country. I study the book itself. I study the Quran. I study Muhammad as a person. I study Muhammad himself. I study him. Like I analyze him. I memorize so many of his hadiths before. Like I know exactly which kind of person he is.
But what?
Or he was.
Why is it that my understanding of it, because I know I'm a convert. I haven't lived my whole life as a Muslim, but I've also traveled to your country. I've traveled to Palestine. I've lived in Egypt. I was studying Islam there. I was studying Arabic there. I've read the Quran twice over. I have a very limited understanding of Arabic, but I can read and write in it. And so why isn't my interpretation and the beauty that I see in Islam, why isn't in your mind a representation of a kind of Islam that can exist? To me, in a lot of ways, there's a lot about the religion I don't understand. There's a lot about the religions that is difficult for me to understand, and I won't lie about that. But I'll tell you, before I was Muslim, I wasn't practicing Christian, but I'll tell you, this religion actually changed me for the better in so many ways that I can't even understand. And I know it's hard for you to believe, and maybe people that are around you are hard to believe, but it's been a blessing to me. It's made me more humble. I tried to be a better person. You know how many books there are. If you know about akhlaq and character form, and you know all about that. You know about the
But you know as well that the
manners.
Quran give the right for man to have 4 wives, give the right for man to have a child bride. You know that the Quran give the right for a man to hit his wife, right? It's according
No,
to
the
Sharia
Quran
law.
definitely gives sorry?
It's according to Sharia law. You can read the Surah 65 verse 4 and read it and study it. Let's not gonna go over this. My main concern is I'm doing my rally across Canada, and I'm gonna continue doing it until I have a real full discussion with a real like an imam. I would love to have someone who is a scholar in Islam. Scholar, you know what I mean?
Okay,
Someone who know it.
Sure. What is it that you ultimately want from these meetings with these imams? Like, what's your ultimate goal?
The discussion and the meeting with this imam, it's gonna open the door for, I'm looking for a peaceful, civilized conversation. I'm not gonna discussion. I'm not gonna call it debate. I'm not here to debate because I hate debating. I'm not debating with you. I'm discussing with you. I'm showing you that I don't hate Muslim. I'm willing to sit with the top imam of Canada, the biggest scholar of Islam in Canada, to prove me wrong on my views on Islam, to prove me wrong and to comfort the Canadians who concerned, not a phobia, who's concerned about Sharia law being implemented in Canada through Motion M103, also through the unvetted refugees, okay? Not too long ago, a woman who held a knife in Scarborough, praising ISIS and praising Al Khalifa. I need to know, like, what's the ultimate goal of Muslims in Canada? Do they want Islam? They want to build the caliphate? Are they a member of the caliphate? What they want? I want to know what Muslims want from Canadians or from Canada. Are we gonna be safe? Are Canadians gonna be safe? Are we gonna have a jihadist? Are we gonna have a terrorist attack? Like, we want to know. We have the right to know, right?
I mean, Sandra,
the imam need to comfort. Like, there is a comforting. Now you are comforting me to tell me, no, Sandra, don't worry. This is never gonna be. Canada will always be protected. I want to hear it. I wish my dream to hear this from imams. Until today, no Canadian imams come out and condemn the terror attack that happened in Europe. I never see imam. If I'm mistaken, please send me the videos. I want to see imam coming out, condemning the terror attack, condemning jihad, and prove to us that Islam is religion of peace. I need to prove it. Don't just say it. Prove it.
Sandra, I just want to say one point about that. Do you know how many, I know this because I'm part of a Muslim group. Do you know how many discussions, how many things happening behind the scenes, Muslims working hard for anti-radicalization efforts, imams working hard to try to make sure young men, disaffected young men, are not falling into radicalism. If they are working, and it's all invisible because you don't get to see it because you're not looking and because it's not in the media. But there's so many people working hard so young men don't join.
That's what I'm talking about. I would love to meet these people. Really. I would love to. If you can connect me, you got my website, voiceofsandrasolomon.com. You feel free to connect me with these people, and I'm willing to go and meet them in person.
But you have to stop the rhetoric, and you have to not burn hijabs on July 1st. What's that about?
This is about every girl that being practiced on her, the FGM, al-khitan in Arabic, and every woman who's been subjugated, especially me, under Sharia law from Saudi Arabia, for every woman who got her face burned with acids, to stop the violence against, not to force. Do you know how many times my brother attempted to murder me just because I refused to wear the hijab? I don't want to wear the hijab. Do you know the Shafia girl, the Pakistani? What do you think of Shafia girls in Canada that they've been murdered, honor killing, just because they refuse to wear the hijab? What do you think of these incidents that happen in Canada? You keep saying, oh, this is Canada, will never happen, but we have every proof that honor killing, it's already happened in Canada. Honor killing.
Sandra, you're right. I can never say it won't happen. I can never promise that there won't be a terrorist in Canada. I can never promise that. I don't know what's happening in the minds of young men. But what I can say is that most Muslims in the communities that I've lived in Montreal, I've lived in Toronto, I've lived in Edmonton now. I am deeply involved in a lot of the Muslim communities. That's not the general sentiment. We can't control what everyone does. And these horrific honor murders, honor killings, horrific. Like disgusting. There's nothing redeeming about that. But you can't just take a general religious symbol, a symbol that's meant to be spiritual.
I'm not against hijab itself. If you want to wear it, wear it. I'm against being forced. In Saudi Arabia, every woman from the airport, they've been forced to wear the hijab. Can I go in Saudi Arabia with wearing my cross and wearing my jeans and my shorts and going? I don't want to go to Mecca, okay? Can I go back to Jeddah where I was raised and wear whatever I'm wearing here in Canada, and I don't want to wear the hijab? Can I gain my freedom in Middle East? I escaped Middle East. I escaped Jordan too. It's not just Saudi Arabia. In Egypt, in Jordan, in Iran, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, wherever it's majority Muslim country, there is lots of persecution for women. There is no women rights. There is no children rights. There is no human rights. We cannot Mashal Khan, a Muslim guy, I protested him in front of the Pakistani consulate. He's Muslim. He was murdered in university. Same blasphemy law, because he criticized Islam, he criticized Muhammad. Can we criticize Muhammad? Can I draw Muhammad having sex with Aisha and she's 9 years old? I'm sorry. Can I do that without fearing for my life? Can I draw can I draw Allah, the God of Islam? I'm sorry, but I'm a very artistic person. There's many artistic people there. They're willing to draw Muhammad. The guy in the Denmark, he drew Muhammad with a bomb head. He got killed. Why? Blasphemy law.
Yeah, but why is it okay? You referenced Saudi Muslims. Why do Canadian Muslims have to suffer for the actions?
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why?
Why?
Because the same message that I studied in Islam, that I heard it in Islam in Saudi Arabia, the same message I am hearing it here in Canada from many Canadian imam. Check Dr. Iqbal Al-Nadvi. Check Muslih Khan, the Toronto Chaplain Police. He said it, and I protested him. He said marrying 9 years old is permissible. Dr. Iqbal Al-Nadvi, he is a scholar in the Quran. He is the top. Okay, he said Quran says you can beat up your wife. This is coming from the mouth of the imams, not me. I'm not the one who's saying this. So to me, whatever I study or I saw in Saudi Arabia, it's the same in Canada. Every
imam that says, conservative imam that says that, you're going to find another type of imam that has a different interpretation.
Another question: who can speak? Who can speak for Islam? Who is the true Muslim? You or the imam or the terrorist, or the one who live in Saudi Arabia, or the one who live in Afghanistan, or the one who live in Europe, or the one who live in Canada? Who can speak for Islam? Give me one person can speak for 1.5 billion Muslim, and I'm willing to see him.
No. Yeah, but Sandra, who speaks for Christians?
We're discussing Islam now. I can make another interview with you. We can discuss Christianity, no problem. Let's focus into Islam. Who speak for Muslims?
It's the fact that there's no one leader. Maybe Catholicism has a pope, but there's no one leader for any community. So you can't expect one person to speak for 1.5 billion people. That doesn't make sense. We're a diverse community. Muslims live from Senegal to Indonesia to every country that there's a Muslim majority. They're so diverse, different interpretations, different expressions
but
of Islam.
Majority of them, they praise Sharia Allah, yes or not? They want to live according Sharia Allah. In UK today, they have Sharia Allah courts. They tried it here in Canada, but they failed. You know that?
No, they didn't try. It was arbitration. It was for specific things like divorce and marriage. It wasn't Sharia law. They already have arbitration for other.
Can you explain to the audience what's Sharia law from a Muslim perspective? I'm not gonna talk. Go ahead.
Sorry?
What's Sharia law?
I'm sorry.
What is Sharia law?
My understanding about Sharia law is that it's a form of guidance, and it's interpreted in a legal way, a form of guidance extracted from the Quran and from the various hadiths to guide the Muslims how to live a particular life. And I believe, if you correct me if I'm wrong, because you know Arabic better than me, doesn't Sharia mean the way or the path? Isn't that what it means?
Sharia, actually, the word Sharia came from a Hebrew word called halakha, mean a law, like a law. If you do this, you do that. If you like, it's a law. It's like a governmental law. Governmental. It's constitution. It's like we have a Canadian constitution. We have Islamic constitution. The Islamic constitution is the Quran itself.
Right. But how, like systems of law, you can interpret it differently. There's different traditions of interpretation. Some are more conservative and some are more considerably liberal, and some fall in between. So Sharia law is not this like one law that is every single expression of it differs according to the person interpreting it. And so you can have nice, beautiful expressions of Sharia, or you can have some of the more extreme ones, which is what you're clearly against. But you seem to lump all Muslims into one, Sharia law, all into this one thing, and you never seem to have any nuance in understanding what Sharia actually is and how it actually impacts the average person. And you're concerned about what, I don't know, you're mostly concerned about what, the old punishments that nobody really wants in Canada, that shouldn't even exist in a modern society. Nobody wants that. Canadians don't want that. Canadians, and honestly, on behalf of all Canadian Muslims, we just want, like, you to stop doing this and stop attacking Muslims, because it really hurts people. It really affects
I'm
people.
not attacking, I'm criticizing. There is a difference. I'm not attacking nobody. Have you seen me ever holding something in my hand and throwing the things on Muslims? Never. Have you seen me ever like going after a Muslim woman trying to take off her hijab? Never. And I will never accept that, and I will never do that. And I always tell people I'm against physical violence. It's a civilized movement, civilized way of protesting. According to the Canadian law, we have the freedom of speech. Many Muslims criticizing, saying so many things about the Jews. They call them filthy, they call them pigs and monkeys, and they call them like anti-Semitism. There's so many imams, we have the evidence of in many imams calling the Jews filthy, calling the Christian Nasara wal Mushrikeen polytheists. We are polytheists, we are al-Dallin, we gone astray. So many things, like many Muslims, they criticize Christians, they criticize Jews, and they criticize the Bible, they criticize Judaism. No one will come after, nobody coming after you and saying, oh, you said Jews are filthy, you said إنما المشركون نجس. Najs mean filthy. Like, according to Quran, we are filthy. As a Christian, we are filthy. So I'm not going to come to you and say, listen, your faith calling me filthy, I'm offended by that. I'm not, like, this is your faith, right?
Oh my God. Pardon?
This is according, like this is your faith. If you view the Jews are filthy, or the infidel are filthy, the kafir, you know, or we are kafir, that's fine. This is your belief. My main concern, I don't want it to be governmental. That's all. That's all. I don't want it to be governmental. Until today, I'm not convinced. I hope the Muslim community can convince majority Canadian that there is no such a thing political Islam. There's no such a thing of the hilm or the dream or the resurrection of the caliphate, al-khilafah al-Islamiyya. We need to know. Like, we need to know. We are concerned. That's all.
Okay, but we probably should end off in a better note than we are right now. But yeah. I'm just going to tell you, if that's your goal, to get some kind of leader that doesn't really exist, even if he has authority over an organization, you're not going to find that, because there is not one central person that can speak like that. And if you're speaking to him, he's going to talk from his interpretation. So you're going to get exactly what you're saying, a million different interpretations, some better than others, some worse than others. Ultimately, and I also feel like the idea, it's very condescending to think that we have to reassure you. Like, the average Muslim is just like you, and you know it. Like, goes to work, comes home, has their child, sleeps, gets up, goes to work again. No, like, we're just trying to survive.
Because because I believe so. I believe that I agree with you that there's a big percentage of Muslims. Don't get me wrong with that, you know, many Muslims, they don't understand the Quran fully, they don't understand, they're not searching for themselves, especially the one who do not speak the Arabic, read it and search it. If I'm wrong, if I am lying, please expose me. I'm opening the
I
door
don't think
for every
you're
Muslim.
lying, Sandra. I don't think
Or-
you're lying, but what I think you're doing is not contextualizing, and you're also misinterpreting, and you're also not looking at the fact that
Fine. You know what? If I am misinterpreting, please go to the Imam, and I'm willing to sit with the Imam, and I'm willing to open the Quran, and I'm willing for him to show me what the things that I misunderstood. What's the verses that ISIS misunderstand it? What's the verses that the jihadists are using it in the name of Islam? Let's finish this problem. We want to fix it from the root. You know what I mean? I don't like too long discussions. We want to fix the problem from the root. We have a terror attacks. We have a jihadist. We have lots of women being abused and being murdered. We have such a thing. I would love to see Imam coming, sitting with me. Okay, Sandra, let's open the Quran openly. Let's study. I'm willing.
You're willing?
Of course.
Okay. Well, I don't have any
Sandra,
power
I'm
over
here
that,
to
but-
prove you wrong. I am the Imam, the name, whatever the name. I'm here to prove you wrong. I'm willing, really, from the bottom of my heart. I'm willing to see one Imam approaching me.
Right, but the thing is, your approach is so antagonistic to people. You can't just show up at a mosque, barge in through a door with signs and think you're going to get someone wanting to talk to you. You have to stop protesting and burning hijabs and saying Muslim men rape white women. You've said that before. You said it on Kevin J. Johnson's video. You said Muslim men want to rape women who don't wear hijab, which is so untrue.
That's the truth from the hadith. If you say, and look, listen, if you guys, if Motion M103 claiming that we are Islamophobe, we are showing you that we don't have no phobia. If you want to make a statement, prove it. Prove me that I'm Islamophobe. I'm showing I don't have phobia. Show no phobia. That's why I'm protesting the mosque to show them no phobia. I'm not phobic. I'm standing against M103 and I will continue doing it. I'm not going to harass people. I'm not mocking them in a bad way. You know what I mean? I'm not calling them name, like what the Quran calling the infidels are filthy. I'm not calling nobody's name. I'm calling the Muslims to please understand my perspective as an ex-Muslim apostate from Islam. I left Sharia law. I don't want to see Sharia law in Canada. I want to keep Canada safe. And I want to keep Canada. I have concern. I don't want to see jihadists, a terror attack that's happening. What's going on in Europe, it's going to happen in Canada. If Muslims, and I'm holding every Imam and every Muslim accountable for each and every terror attack and jihad attack. They are accountable. They need to come out and explain. You need to come out and do more videos. Come to the community. Show them that we're not here to implement Sharia law. Islamophobia motion, it's not from the Muslim Brotherhood. It's a lie. Show us, prove us to us. You know what I mean? That's it. That's all I'm asking. If it's possible, hallelujah, praise the Lord.
If you want to have those conversations with imams, it's probably best to just not show up like that. Just book an appointment with his secretary.
I did. I went to the mosque many times, and I went to open houses, mosque open houses many times.
With humility, or did you go with signs and million people and security and all of these things? You just have to book an appointment. It's so easy.
I did. They refused to talk to me. I did so many times. They don't want to talk to me peacefully, without my megaphone, without protesting. I went one time to Imam Shabir Ali in Toronto. He doesn't want to talk to me. I went to another Imam. I went to open houses. Trust me, they don't want to talk to me peacefully. I'm not. They don't want to talk to me. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to do? To beg them? I cannot. I did my best. They know my email. They know my website. I'm willing. Please, if you can find Imam, can talk to me and prove me wrong of what am I saying, I'm begging you. Please. Do me a favor and get me Imam to prove me wrong. That's it. And we can finish it here.
Okay.
We can finish it here. I do appreciate your call.
Please reach out. Try to get you to talk to an imam privately without a camera. I won't be there, obviously. Just you and the imam.
Why privately? No, I'm willing to talk to imam with the it has to be recorded, because I'm giving them the chance to prove me wrong. Shame me. You know what I mean? I'm giving them the chance to prove me wrong.
Sure, but I just just want to request you, please. I know this is a naive request. You're never going to stop. But please don't burn the hijab on July 1st.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it. This is not for you. I'm not against hijab. Many women and many, listen to me, many women in many cultures, in many faiths, in many whatever, they wear, if you want to wear the hijab by yourself, that's fine. I'm not against it. It's not about what you wear. It's about what's going on in your heart. It's about the heart, okay? I'm against oppression, forcing, burning faces just because they don't want to wear hijab, murdering the girls just because they don't want to wear hijab. You know what I mean?
And that too, it's not about, acid burning is not something that's exclusive to Muslims. It's not something that only Muslims do. FGM is horrifically done by, yes, Muslim people, but it's not attached to hijab. Hijab has been used as oppression, but it's also been used by Muslim women who use it for their own purposes as liberation or spiritual connection. Burning the hijab means that it's going to give license to people who want to attack us. That's simply what it's going to do, Sandra. You think it's a feminist statement, but watch what's going to happen after you do it. Watch what's going to happen to us.
Well, the feminist, it's a different thing to talk about feminism and women rights in Islam. We can have as many as you want interview. This is not the first time. I hope this is not the first time. I'm asking you peacefully that we can have a mini discussion in the future, not just about motion M103, women rights, whatever right. Like we are in here in peace. We are in Canada. We are in a society where we can. There's lots of stress. You know what I mean? People are stressed. Because of what's going on, and they need to be comfort. And I'm hoping that one day I can really sit with the Imam, a scholar, and especially the one who knows Arabic. I would love to speak with Imam who knows Arabic, and to prove me wrong of what I'm claiming about Sharia law. And I hope motion M103, it will open the door for many people to actually study Islam and know Islam for what it is, and especially the Muslims. And I encourage every Muslim to really study Islam and really dig into it and see it for what it is.
I actually agree with you on that. I hope people do study Islam after this.
Yes. I'm not against studying. We have to study. We have to read. We have to search. Like, we have to criticize. If I did not criticize Muhammad, if I criticize Jesus, criticize Moses, criticize Bible, criticize every book, criticize Hinduism, Buddhism, atheism, we have to. We need to open the door for especially the new generation to think for themselves. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader for my own life. I'm not going to follow whatever my ancestor follows. You choose for yourself, good for you. I choose for myself, good for me. But we have to have a foundation, a ground where we can respect each other, living in a secular country, democratic country like Canada, secular law, separation from a church and a state, separation from a mosque and a state, separation from synagogue and a state. Law has nothing to do with the religious belief. The government has nothing to do with any religious belief. We want to make sure that every Canadian in Canada gonna be living peacefully, safe, no terror attack, no jihad, no radicals, no whatever, all these things. We can work together. I'm willing to work with the Muslim community, no problem. Even though I'm apostate from Islam, I will never go back to it. And I don't believe in Quran, I don't believe in Muhammad. But yet, I believe that every Muslim deserves the chance to think and to read and to live and to have to have like you feel like you're safe in Canada, no problem, as long as we obey the Canadian law. We're not changing it to something else. It doesn't matter, even if it's not Sharia law, any like communist law, you know what I mean? There's many other laws can be infringed to the Constitution. We want to stop it. There's the Canadian soldiers who die for this country. Forefather, when they build this country, they build it in a Judeo-Christian values. We need to keep it this way. That's all. Simple. How simple is that? Is this hard?
Indigenous people lived here before the Europeans lived here, so we have to remember that history too, right? It wasn't a pretty history for them. So when you say that, you're neglecting the fact that...
No, I'm not neglecting. Listen, I came to this country about 11 years now, okay? I'm not like, I'm not gonna like, I don't know the 200 or 400 or 500 history, whoever came first, regardless, whoever. came first, like even the native, even the whatever. We all immigrants. I'm immigrants, right? You're immigrants to this country. I don't know if you're immigrants or not. We're not gonna come here to take over the native right, for example. Of course they have the right to the land. Of course they are the first people. I'm not against that. Of course, each and when I say Canadian, I include every Canadian, include the people who've been here for like before, you know, even include the native. I'm not disincluding them. You know what I mean? Include everyone, regardless who comes first. We all here now. Let's work it out. Let's work it out. That's it. That's my goal.
Let's work it out. I want to say, I don't know if this means anything to you, but I didn't know, obviously you don't say it in your videos, but your brother did that stuff to you, and I understand, like, I just feel really bad.